I do still feel intimidated by the Psalms plenty of times. And I just believe in the smaller phrases that can come up through a psalm that are really beautiful and can help you, but sometimes they're surrounded by an entire psalm. Like, I have phrases that I love in the Psalms, but I don't really like the whole rest of the psalm. Like, the whole rest of the psalm doesn't really work for me. Not yet. But they have, there's a way that they have a flexibility. You might not get it one time and then the next time you do, but that was really why that was a gift for me when I interviewed Anne. So I have an interview with Anne, and Anne had talked to me about a translation that I really would never read myself. The message, I would never read it. It's so, to me, watered down in a way that the poet in me, the writer in me is like, oh my God. But millions and millions of people have gotten access to the Old Testament, the New Testament, any section of the Psalms with that particular translation. So I felt it was just such a gift that she talked to me about how much she loves that. So they can really be very intimidating. There's so much more I want to learn historically about the times, then the warring factors of different tribes and all that. There's so much to learn, and it can be intimidating to be like, oh, I don't know that history. But in particular, now I might be biased towards David. In fact, I probably should just admit that I am biased towards David, his Psalms. There's just a way that if you just give them a shot, like just look at them, something will most likely pop out that is very, very true, because they are very human. They talk about, teeth and bones and blood and food and spring, water and bread. Like they're very concrete. So we can make awesome connections to our lives today. But I do really understand that intimidation. I think that, there are 150 poems. They cover a lot of territory. And I think it's okay, like what Merton was talking about, to just trust that whatever your eye is drawn toward is okay. Now, sometimes people might think like, oh, I shouldn't do that. That's just cherry picking. It's really not, because you're reading something. It's divination for yourself. You're reading something, you're drawn to it. And, it really counts. So an example I would give, I talk about a number of phrases that I love, but one of them, the Psalms, I don't know always like, oh, this is the number. I think it might be 85. Truth shall spring up like water from the earth. Justice shall reign from the heavens. Now, I just love that. Truth shall spring up like the water from the earth. Now, there's all different translations. Some translations don't even sound like that. Like the translation really makes a difference. But I felt those words got me through some really hard times. It doesn't have to be an entire thing, because that's too much in a way. It's more like a bite-sized bit is okay to find and really resonate with. That's just been my own experience, because even when I was choosing Psalms to include in the book, sometimes I'd be like, oh yeah, I love that entire section. And then I'd look at the section after, I'm like, no, like that's not really what I'm trying to say. So I'm still learning as I go to not be intimidated as well, and to just be open to them. They keep surprising me. They have endless surprises. But I do understand that intimidation, and I think it comes from people thinking that they have to understand poetry, and I don't agree with that. I think that you have to feel it. I think feeling it counts. I don't think you have to be able to really understand it with your head. It's definitely more of the heart, and people don't have that confidence because of schooling around poetry. But I think it's just trusting that you can have a direct relationship with them that will nourish you.